Hi, John Capobianco here, and I've been working on AI agents, as you know, and we have router agents and switch agents. And during some of my demonstrations, in order to prove that the configuration worked, I've been running pings manually. Why? We have to change our thinking. We have to move ahead. Why don't instead I add a ping tool to my agent? Then when I do the prompt, configure this or configure that, I could ask it and then perform a connectivity test to confirm that your configuration was successful or something like that. Or could you please ping this? Could you ping that? Could you configure this and then run some ping tests and give me the results? Could you email me those results? So anyway, lots of fun. We're going to be using ping. Next, because we have ping and because I want to prove this capability in this new agent system, we're actually going to build the CML topology out properly with the correct advanced networking kind of things that you need to get two hosts on two different VLANs talking to each other. Now, when you reserve the CML modeling lab and spin it up, it has some VLANs, it has a route, has a couple of interfaces with IPs, but it's not correct. It's not right. It doesn't actually let you ping things. So what we're going to do is we're going to show some pings first. We're going to erase all of the configs from the network. The two routers and two switches, we're going to revert all the configs to nothing. And we're going to get a running ping going between the two workstations. We're then going to use netbox as a source of truth, or a hand-drawn image, or even just a prompt, if you don't have a netbox or an image, if you just want to prompt it, to push a full config out and get the pings going. All right, and we're also going to add to the prompt, could you ping PC1 or PC2 after you've configured this to confirm connectivity. All right, let's take a look. Okay, so in the CML, I have reconfigured this a little bit, and we actually have some hosts we can ping. So if I ping 1010, 10200, that is PC1 down here. And if I ping 1010, 3200, that is PC2 down here. Now I can do this from router 2 because routing is working now because of my reconfiguration, where we can ping across the wire. Right, so this is router 2 over here, pinging all the way across and down to these two PCs down here. Unfortunately, these servers over here are running a different kind of Linux, and I don't seem to have permissions to give them IP addresses. The other thing is, if you're working with this environment, if we go to PC1 and do IPADDR, ETH2, ETH0, the second link, does not have an IP address when you first bring up this topology. So I've given PC1 and PC2 the appropriate IP addresses on the appropriate VLANs at switch 1, a trunk port up to router 1 with sub interfaces. Don't worry, I'll draw all that up later. Let's get into some ping testing. So I'm going to say, can you please ping 1010 30.200 PC2 from router 2 and send an email report to John Capobianco gmail.com. Enter. Send. And let's crank up the view. I should have done this ahead of time. So we're going to look at the pardon me. We're going to look at, to complete this task, I need to ping the IP address from router 2 and then send an email report to John. First, I'll perform the ping operation from router 2. The input is ping and the address, right? So now it's going to log in, running the ping command tool, the new tool I've added. And it's going to go ahead and log in and run the ping, and we see it's all successful. We see then the reasoning from the answers, and then we see an email that's been sent with this message. And if I just show you my email, we don't need to look at this, but you can see that I should have something in my inbox. There it is, inbox 1. And it is this email, the ping, right? So if we go back to the UI, the ping 2 was sent successfully and an email report has been sent. Okay, so now let's do, can you please ping 1010 10 200 from router 1 and router 2 and compare the latency between these pings. Please email John the results. And it should have the memory of my email address. So let's go back and take a look. Right, so to compare the latency of pings from R1 and R2 to that IP address, I'm going to execute it on both and then I'll email the results to John. So now we're on router 1, executing the ping. And now it should log into router 2. And it is. And it's going to run the ping. Then it should have both sets of JavaScript object notation ping results from pyATS. The dogs are playing here beside me, I apologize. And then we should do some inference and then send the email report to John. And there we go. Both routers have identical latency. And it sent the email. And if I check the email, I should have 2 emails now. Oh, did it not know who to send that to the second time? Should have had the memory. It just said to John. Okay, well, that's my mistake. Email relay failed. Ha, that's funny. Okay, I thought it would have had the memory of who John was. And there's the response. So now, what are we going to do next to really push the boundaries of this? Let's jump into Excalidraw. And so this is what you get out of the box from the CML. And I don't want to say it's wrong, but, you know, these PCs cannot ping each other. This router cannot ping these PCs. None of that is set up properly or appropriately in the CML. So what we're going to do is we're going to clear the canvas here. And I'm not going to do all of this now on the recording because it's going to take me some time to draw it all up. But basically we're going to have the 2 routers and the 2 switches. And I'll draw the PCs later. And this connection here is now going to be a trunk port carrying 2 VLANs each. This is still going to remain a point-to-point link using a /30 IP. But here, I'll undo this. This interface here is going to have sub-interfaces. So we're going to have a sub-interface for VLAN 10 and a sub-interface for VLAN 20. We're going to put a couple of routes in here to let this router know, hey, to get to these 2 subnets, come through me. So I'll draw all this up. I may need a little more space on the picture here. So that way we can use the photo as an input. The other thing is I'm going to go to the Netbox Community Sandbox. I'm going to add a token and I'm going to create an organization, add the sub interfaces, add the VLANs, add everything I need to add to Netbox. So that way when we come to this agent, 1, we can upload an image and do it from the image. 2, we can do it from Netbox. And then 3, I suppose I could show you how to do it with just a prompt in case you had neither an image or nor a Netbox. So I've got a bit of work to do to prepare for this video. I've got to set up Netbox, I've got to set up my drawing and erase the CML environment. But just to show you right now, if I do IP adder on both of the PCs, you're going to see their IP addresses. And it's, 10, 10, 10, 200 and 10, 10, 30, 200 on different subnets, on different VLANs. And if I do a ping between 10, 10, 30, 200 and ping 10, 10, 100, 10, 100, 200, geez, we're going to see the pings are working and running. Okay? So now so the next thing we're going to do is break these running pings. Let's just check switch 2. So switch 2 has nothing to do with the running pings, but I've already removed the VLANs and I've already defaulted the interfaces. So we're going to do the same on switch 2, and this will break the pings. All right, so conf t, no VLAN 10, no VLAN 20, int eth 0, 0, no switch port mode trunk, no switch port mode access, no switch port access VLAN, shut, no description, int eth 0, 1, and we've already broken the pings, I think. Yeah, the pings have stopped here. And the pings have stopped here. So I'm going to do the rest of the cleanup here real quick. No switch port access VLAN, no switch port mode access, shut, no description, in eth02, shut, no switch port mode trunk, no switch port trunk encapsulation, no switch port trunk allowed, VLAN, shut, show VLAN, no VLANs, show run in eth 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2. All right, now let's do the routers. Now I think I've already done router 2. Show run in eth 0, 0, 0, 1. Show IP route. The only route in there is for management. Right. Show run. Let's just be sure of that. Yeah, there's only a route for VRF management. All right, so now on router 1, conf t in eth 0, 0 to 1. Well, let's range that. No IP address, shut. I think I might have sub interfaces. Yeah, I do. Let me clear those out. Conf t no int eth 0, 0 dot 10 dot 20. Do show run. I think I might have some routes too. Yeah. No IP route 10, 10, 40, 0. All right, so they are absolutely, as you've seen, nothing. No running pings. Let me cancel that and try the ping again. All right, so there's nothing happening there. And I'll cancel this and we'll start the ping again. Now, hopefully those pings just come alive once we get the configuration. All right, so what's the point? We have the drawing that I've done up with all of the information. We have everything in NetBox. Let's do 3 different attempts. First is going to be a prompt. So, can you please configure following devices as follows? Router 1, eth 0, 0 dot 10, and this is going to be 10.10.10.1 slash 24, eth 0 slash 0 dot 20, This is going to be 10.10.30.1. ETH01 is going to be 1.1.1/30. And let's go ETH00 downlink to switch 1. Default gateway VLAN 10. Default gateway VLAN 20. Peer-to-peer link with router 2. And I'm just going to copy all this and do router 2. And router 2 No, hang on. It's VLAN 40 and VLAN 30. And that's 30, but the IP is up by 10 because VLAN 20 is already, yeah. Downlink to switch 2. And then we're going to do our switches. Switch 1, ETH00 is PC1 on VLAN 10. ETH01 is PC2 on VLAN 20. ETH02 is uplink to R1, VLAN 10 and 20. Switch 2, let's just copy that. Is VLANs 30 and 40. Router 2, VLAN 40. VLAN 30, and this is server 2, server 1, VLANs 30 and 40 to router 2. All right, so that's all the information. And then what I'm going to say is to test our new ping tool, can you also use ping to test various communication points? Can you use ping to test various reachability across the routers using across the routers and to PC1 10 10 10 200 and PC2 10 10 30 200 to ensure your configuration worked. Then send a final report to John Capobianco at gmail.com. All right, ambitious. Thank you for staying with me, but we've typed it all up and we're going to hit send. Okay, so before we hit send, I thought I would split screen this. So what we're going to see here is, oh, hang on, I lost it. Where did my CML go? Down here. So we have all the routers and switches down here. We have our running pings going, which are frozen and not moving. And I've turned console logging on. I wanted to see this. We can actually see what happens in real time. So let me move this up into the corner here. That's better. And over here we have the back-end logs, so we can see the reasoning and see this happen in real time. So we're going to hit send. And I'll bring up the reasoning as soon as it starts to reason. So we're looking for the green text here. All right, so here we go. So we see it's logged in, right? See the console logging there? So keep an eye on this console on the bottom left. It's disconnecting. I thought I would have seen some more configuration, some interfaces come up and stuff. But now we're on router 2. So let's check router 1. show IP route. So it's added routes and sub interfaces. Right, we can see all that from the routing table, the the two sub interfaces and a new default route over the ETH1 link. So show run in ETH00.10.20. They both look good. ETH00 is no IP and is it shut though? No, because it's in the routing table. So, and then that looks for 01, has the /30. Okay, so that looks good. Now router 2 has been configured. Show IP route. Yeah. All right, so let's try to ping across. Ping 10.10.10.1, which is on router 1. No? Ten, 1. Why can't I ping that? 10.10.10.1. 31. 41. Across the wire. Okay, what about the PCs? Yeah, look at the PCs are pinging now. PCs are pinging each other. I'm not sure why I can't ping across the wire, but let's not worry about that. So, and there's my email report. So the PC started pinging, and it did some ping tests. If we look up here, right, it is actually trying to ping those PCs to confirm that it worked. So if we go back to our, so there's our prompt. Network devices have been configured and tested successfully. A report has been sent to John Capobianco. And what we'll do is we'll look at the email here. It shows all the configs it's done for each of the 4 devices, and then the reachability tests. Ping from router 1 to PC1, router 1 to PC2 successful. Now I don't know in this topology if router 2, where did that go? If router 2 can ping, can ping the PCs. And I'd be curious what it missed or why that isn't working. Let's try it. Ping 10.10.10. Although if I can't ping the gateway, I'm not going to be able to ping the host. So it's something about the routes. What kind of routes did it add? Show run. Okay, so it didn't add a route. It missed the routes. Now, maybe I didn't specify that in my prompt. Okay, so maybe that's on me. I'm going to take that on as me. Show run. Did it add any routes on this side? No, it didn't. So I didn't mention anything about routes. So that could be me, or it could be a miss. However, these PCs just started pinging each other, right? You saw that it wasn't working. And the email shows that it did do some ping tests from router 1. Now, it'd be interesting to see, had it tried router 2 and noticed that router 2 wasn't working. Let's just try that. Okay, what we're going to do is wipe this out and say, thank you, R1 is able to ping PC1 and PC2, but router 2 is not able to ping PC1 or PC2. Let's not mention that we know why. can you use your ping capability and configuration knowledge to correct this? Send. All right, where did that go? I don't want to lose track of this. So we're going to watch this over here, and where did my netbox go? So now we're going to do ping 10, 10, 10, 200. How do I send more pings? Like 100 pings. So check it out. It's looking at the routing table right now. So it's looking at the routes. Let's just keep running those pings. Looking at configs, looking at interface brief. I should have picked up on the routing table that there's no route. It's doing all kinds of crazy stuff. It's looking in the netbox. Let's just give it time. Did it come back already with an answer? Okay, not documented in netbox. I'm going to ask this thing again and say ignore netbox. Send. I want to see if it will fix it. If it will know that it needs to add a route to get that thing working. It did get the routing table, and I'm surprised it didn't pick up on the routing table that, right, here's the routing table. And there's no route in here. So the gateway of last resort is not set. So there's no default gateway, meaning my 10.10.10 is not matching any of these subnets. And because the gateway is not set, it doesn't know where to send these things. So it should be able to say, oh, did I give it the IP address? Maybe this is on me again. Hang on. I didn't give it the IP. Let's I don't want to stop it. Let's just let this finish. Because if I stop it, it's going to lose all that history and context. Actually, you know what? Let's just stop it. Let's stop it. This is a good, we'll do the exact same test. We'll leave the situation as it is. There's no default route, and there's no route, specific route. So it can either add static routes on both sides, or it can add a default route on both sides. We're going to ask this exact same question, but we're going to give it the IP addresses instead of just PC1 and PC2. That could be on me. It doesn't have the actual IP address. All right, so we'll bring it up. Copy that out. And we'll adjust it a little bit. We won't say thank you. We're going to say R1 is able to ping PC1 10.10.10.100 and PC2 10.10.20.100, and it's 200. But R1 is not able to ping PC1 or PC2. And we'll get rid of this ignore the netbox. Please use your ping capability. I had a wrong IP. It's 10.10.30.200 for PC2. So let's send it. And again, we'll wet the agent up and we'll get the, now I can't ping 10.10.30.200 and I can't ping 10.10.10.200. Now those are all the way down to the PCs from router 2 in this topology, right? So this router trying to ping all the way through router 1, switch 1 over to PC1, PC2 on different VLANs. And let's maximize this. So it did grab the routing table from router 2. So that's really smart that it knew where to start in this, amongst the agents that it has. Grab the routing table, analyzing the routing table. Now it's going to configure terminal, and it looks like it's going to add the routes with the next hops. Now let's see, is it going to get these correct? And while it's trying to ping, and it can't ping, which is good, which means it didn't actually, and I don't know where it's getting this IP for that subnet. That's wrong. It seems to get that wrong. Oh, I see. It's getting it from Ethernet 2. And it's thrown off by this .20. So that's what's going on there. So now it's over on router 1, which is interesting. So maybe it's gathering in some information to find out what subnets it's offering. So that way it can go back and correct. Can I ping either of these hosts yet? Okay, weird. Okay, cool. So it grabbed the information from router 1. So it's going to try pinging router 1 from router 2, pinging that. So we know that that works. Is that now going to affect its next hop information and how it's going to configure the routes to my subnets where my clients are? This is really fascinating to watch. Really fascinating. These agents are running commands and using the output. It's bounced back and forth from router 2 to back to router 1. Look at it. It knows now, based on the information it got from router 1, and now it's just struggling to apply the routes, but those are the correct routes. It's added them. I bet you now we can ping. I bet you now we can ping. Check it out. We can ping the clients now using it and the ping command to troubleshoot this. So now it is going to run some pings. So that way it can tell us that it's fixed the problem. So look, it's pinging the first client. And now it's going to ping the second client. I don't even know what to tell you. I don't even know what to say. Look at it. Now it's pinged the second client. And I probably could have asked it for an email report. I forgot to do that, to be honest with you. I should have. But it's going to come back here pretty soon and say, I fixed the problem by adding 2 routes to router 2. And I've used ping to confirm connectivity. There's my answer. Router 1 is able to ping PC1 and PC2. After successfully configuring the correct static routes to use R1 as the next hop router. Wow. Wow, that is really, really cool. Okay, so let's just take a pause and think about what's next. Right. So I have the Excalidraw, and I'm going to see if it's smart enough with these sub-interface information to do the same thing. So we're going to use Excalidraw next. So if you'll bear with me, I'm going to wipe out these configs except for the PCs. We can see the running pings. So these running pings are going to stop because I'm literally going to wipe them out, all of them. So this is, no VLAN 30, no VLAN 40, in ETH02, no switch port encapsulation, no trunk encapsulation, no switch port mode trunk, no switch port trunk allowed, VLAN shut, in range ETH001, shut, no switch port mode access, no switch port access VLAN, no description, I forgot the description, on ETH02. And let's check it out. Now, you might be wondering why I don't just write mem and reload. I seem to lose, right, so there's the interfaces are shut down and there's no VLANs. I lose connectivity completely remotely when I do that. When I save them all staged as empty configs and just try to reload them, this is actually faster than waiting for them to all come back online and be reachable, if they ever come back at all. So you just have to bear with me here. No VLAN 10, no VLAN 20, in range ETH0 to 1, no switch port access VLAN. Description, shut, no switch port trunk encapsulation, mode trunk allowed VLAN. Wow. And then the routers. Router. No int ETH0.10. Int ETH. Oh, I'm on router 2. Hang on. Sorry, that's my mistake. 30. 40. I think they probably got to remove the routes that it added too. Okay, those are shut. Let me remove those routes. And then router 1. And we're going to try it again from the image. Let me just check the running config of this person first. Routes here? I don't think it added any routes. No, it didn't. Okay, so our running pings are dead. And at a router level, like, I can't ping across anymore. All right, so let's go back to our Copilot. And the purpose of this one was to see from the image. What we're going to do is refresh and start a new session here and upload Let me upload the latest image. That would have been a mistake. Here, export image, PNG, and this is going to be sub interfaces, complex diagram. So a little more complexity in this diagram, and we're going to drag and drop that here. And in our chat, we're going to say, can you please configure all of the devices in this network topology diagram. Please enable all of the interfaces and configure their descriptions, IP addresses, VLANs, what else? Enable all of the interface and configuration and add any required routing. Use your ping capabilities and your knowledge of the network to verify and confirm connectivity to PC1. I'm just going to say verify connectivity. Okay, so slightly adjusted prompt, more or less the same thing with an email report tagged onto the end. So if we go back into the router, right, I can't ping the gateway. Router 2 can't ping the sub interface over here on router 1. And the PCs do not have connectivity. Let's see if we can make this change with the image agent and the connectivity reassurance testing. So the image agent has extracted its information, and we should be moving on to router 1. So we're on router 1, and it looks like it did a show run to gather some information. And then it should be going back to router 1 again. Okay, let's see what's happening here. It looks like it's going to get the commands pretty close to being correct, although I see a bit of an overlap here on ETH0 and the sub interface, but if it does it in that order, that shouldn't be a problem. IP overlap, yeah, so it's going to try it again. We got an overlap there, which was my concern. Okay, there we go. There we go. So now, let's take a look at the routing table on router 1. I should have a couple of local routes. And I do. And I even have a gateway of last resort set now. So this is looking promising. So if we check the running config here of our interfaces, whoops. Okay, it's a little goofy, but it'll work. It will work. So, am I still on router 2? Yeah, we're still on router 2. Let's let router 2 finish. So, it's done with router 2, I think. Let's see if we can ping across to each other. Yes, I can. And let's see if I can ping some sub interfaces locally. And we'll do the same over here. Ping 1.1.1.1, that works. Ping 10.10.10.40.1 and 50.1. Now a big test is across the wire. 10.10.10.1, yes. 30.1, yes. So we have routing. Wow, we have routing. 40.1, 50.1. So we have bidirectional routing. It really comes down to the switch configuration now and if it gets the switches right. So it's on switch 1, and now we've moved on to switch 2. Now in theory, I should have spanning tree and stuff like that. Show VLAN 10 and 20. Show spanning tree 10 and 20. Show run int eth 0 0 0 1 0 2. Awesome. So now in theory I should be able to ping. This is a big test here, 200, which is the client. Oh, that's interesting. Why can't I ping show MAC address table? So I don't see it. Why don't I see? Let's try the other host. Ping 10, 10, 30, 200. So I can ping one of the two. What's wrong with the other host? I think it's why. Show run. It's interesting that I can't ping. Did I get the PC IP right? IP ADDR 10 10 10 200. See, so there's the successful ping to 10 10 20 30. Where's the ping to? So it only pinged one of my hosts. So it did try to validate. It validated one of the hosts, but it didn't validate the second host. And I'm not really sure why, to be honest with you, the ping's not working off the top of my head here. Let's look, probably the sub interface thing. That the IP is here instead of on the sub interface. Anyhow, so that's what happened, is the sub interface mix up. However, and we don't have PC to PC communication. So pretty remarkable. Adding ping as a tool has opened up a whole new realm of possibilities. We can now reinforce our trust and validate and verify reachability and connectivity. Go configure these routers and then go run some ping tests and prove to me that you've done it properly. Remarkable. Asking it just to ping things and getting analysis from ping results. We've configured this from images. We've configured it from text prompts. We're running a little long in the video, so we'll skip the netbox portion, but it does work just as well. Get the netbox data, configure it, run some ping tests. Just absolutely incredible stuff. Stay tuned. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate everyone liking and sharing and subscribing. Thanks again. Much more to come soon.